It's day 5 working with both the little foals, and now we're gonna just move on with the next few exercises. And he's already licking his lips and relaxing, so that's good. It's amazing, something as simple as just changing the direction that the stick is going, it makes a totally different sound, and it's like starting all over again. Now I'm going to go ahead and send him in a circle. This is looking very good. I know, right? He's doing well. And stop him. Now let's back him up. So I'm going to wiggle. There we go. A little bit more, please. Couple steps. Let's go a little bit more. That's good. Let him relax out there. Let him think about it. The idea is that as they progress through the training, the more they get better at the exercises, the less that we ever have to touch them with the whip or with the stick. So in the beginning, it's pretty messy and there's a lot of contact and things. But in the end, when they start getting more and more trained, there's no need to touch them with the stick. You can just send them in the direction that you want them to go. And I'll stop him. That's really good. Okay, stop him. Have him go this way. Stop him, have him back away. That's great. So the key to this exercise is making sure that the foal turns the hind end away from you, and also that you don't move. You want to stand pretty still, and you want to have the horse go in between the fence and you. You're not doing a lot of movement, but they are. So like this, I'm not going to move my feet. He should just, now you see there, he automatically backed up away from me. So that was actually very good. It means he's respecting my space, and he's also remembering this exercise from yesterday. So that's actually a pass on that exercise already for today. Good job. So just stroking on his leg and rubbing all over it, holding it with my hand, the hoof. That's really good. This kind of thing is what keeps them from being very hard to trim when they get older, because you're getting them used to their legs being touched at a young age. This is hugely useful for farriers and everything. Great job. So the next thing I want to work on is desensitizing his body to being tapped. This is something that's kind of a bit more advanced when it comes to desensitizing, because when you're tapping them, it's a little bit more active body language. It's a little bit more aggressive for them. So they need to get used to it though, because sometimes they get tapped when you're petting on them or whatever. So it's important that he's okay with being tapped all over his body. Especially in sensitive areas like on his legs, where he might want to kick out at that sensation. Just getting him relaxed with this is going to help a lot. It's not hurting him, I'm not slapping him, I'm just gently tapping him all over his body. Now I'm not going to do his face, because that wouldn't help. They'll just get reactive and potentially get more scared. So you don't want to do their face with this exercise, but this is good to do anywhere where they're going to be scared of you, tapping them anywhere where they're going to be sensitive, and all over their body. Especially under their belly, places that they never get touched. there's a lot of horses that learn from a young age, and especially around the halter breaking age, to pull back on the rope. And that's actually very dangerous. And if you've ever had a horse that pulls back on the rope, then you know how dangerous it is. And the key to it is to use a special kind of tying ring that's called a tie ring, specifically designed for this purpose. And what I want to show you is basically how I do this. Using this tool, if the horse pulls back, it lets the rope through. So if the horse pulls back with a little bit of force, it lets the rope through. Now, one thing that I want to just make very clear, if your little foal hasn't learned to come forward yet to the halter pressure like this, that when you pull on the halter, they're supposed to come forward, it's going to be very difficult for you to do this, and they're going to run into a lot of problems. But if they've already learned to come forward off the pressure, like we work with them the first day, if you've already done that with your foal and they come off the pressure and they're starting to figure out what leading is, then it's safe to go ahead and start with the tying process. If not, then don't even attempt this, okay? So what I want to do is actually scare him so he feels the pressure of the halter on him, and then he'll actually realize he's tied up, and he might pull back or he might not. And the goal is that he doesn't pull back, and he learns that if he does need to move his feet, though, he's not stuck here. Because what happens is if you tie him to a post, they're going to pull back, they're going to go crazy, they might break the halter or something, they might hurt themselves. But in this case, if he freaks out, the rope will slide out, and it'll allow him to move around. So it's not going to be scary for him. And the best way to do this is just to desensitize them to the stick and string, and if they react to this, this is a great way to start it. So right there, he kind of ran into it, and he created slack in it himself. So that's actually very good. So then I'll go ahead and come over here, let him run into that pressure, and just introduce him to it slowly, okay? Because there's no telling if he's going to react to it in a negative way or not. So right there, kind of ran into it a little bit, but he's being very respectful of being tied up. So now I'm going to desensitize him here. Kind of just trying to get him to bump into that pressure and feel it. So he's doing very well. Now I might actually just send him past me here. Let him feel that pressure. Let him get used to it. So this is very good. He's very respectful of that halter being there, being tied. He's very respectful of that. Okay, so see there what just happened? Was he actually went to the end of the rope, and the tie ring let it almost all the way out, okay? So that's a perfect example why we use the tie ring, because when he was trying to pull it away and trying to escape, it didn't stop him, it let him do it. Okay, so here, let's send him again. There we go, that's great. So every time that he turns around and figures out that he's supposed to stay attached to something, I'll let him relax for a second, and then we'll start again. So this side. There we go. So I want him to respect the fact that he's attached to something and that he's able to be tied up. Now I also want him to get used to the feeling of it when he pulls back a little bit, okay? So I'm just gonna try to scare him off a little bit. So you can see here he's being very respectful of the fact that he's actually tied up. So that's really, really good. And that's a great start for him. And now what I'm gonna do is just tie him up a little bit closer with a little less slack. So now he's got to really realize that he is tied up to something, and we'll see how he responds to that, okay? So I'll send him past it a little bit. There we just kind of getting him to move back and forth. Moving his butt out the way. That's good. Maybe move him this way. Let him feel it. So you can see how he's being very respectful of the fact that he's tied up there, and he's creating slack in the lead rope by himself. So what that tells me is he's learned very well how to be tied up, because he's already learned how to respond to the halter pressure on his face. So I think that's a really good place to stop. So today was a bit of a quicker lesson, but we ran through some important exercises and he did really well. He learned how to be tied up as well, so we'll just call it a day for now and we'll go work with the other foal. I'm in the middle of filming an epic video series of training this wild horse. If you want to see that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Half of you watching this aren't even subscribed yet, so go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed, you can like the video, that helps it get more views. It's free to do both of those things, it doesn't cost you anything and it helps me a lot. So I appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next video.